Hi everybody, I'm going to kick off the video by talking for a few minutes. We will get to running trains, believe me. A couple weeks ago, my friend Fran, the 5-minute modeler, came down. He and his wife came down to visit and run trains. Occasionally we do that. I'll go to his house to run trains. He'll come down here, but it's been a while. I told you in the last video I didn't use the NW2 because it wasn't running that great. So I had him use the GP9 because I knew that it would run great. It's the best running engine I have. I love it. He struggled with two things, and probably both of them were my fault. Number one, he has his Grand Trunk Western GP9 set up to run long hood forward. This engine I got from Benjamin, it was already set up to run short hood forward, so that messed with him. He'd say, okay, I got to go this way, and he'd look at the controller, and then he'd move the engine the wrong way. I could have alleviated that if I had gave him a GP38 or GP40. Never thought of it. I'm just so used to that locomotive that it didn't bother me. So he got through it okay. The engine ran great, as always does, but it's just a couple times until he got used to it, he moved the engine the wrong way. So he'd uncouple and then he'd couple back up. Second thing was, and again something I got used to, is the couplers on that. They were ones that I messed with when I was trying to figure out how to get rid of the bobbing. So I'd actually put a short section of a rubber band in there. I replaced the spring in the microtrains coupler with a short section of rubber band. It worked good at first, but the rubber band eventually dried out, got hard as a rock, so it lost its self-centering ability. And again, I just get used to it. I just take my coupling pick, I make sure the cars are coupled every time. That's what the real railroads do. They don't just rely on, some guy has to come in and check the coupling and hook up the air hoses and all that. So it doesn't bother me. But for someone who wasn't used to that, a lot of times, he just thought, well, it's coupled, and he backed off and they weren't coupled. So again, that was my fault. I could have given him a locomotive with functioning couplers. So what I did was I took the locomotive, took that, and I put Accumates back on it. I like Accumates. They don't bob, and that's what comes on the Atlas engine. So I just took another pair and put it back on it. So that problem is solved. However, it comes down again, hopefully it will run better for him. Because in the past, he's always made the comments, man, Tom, your railroad runs so good. It's just flawless. It wasn't flawless this time, and both things I could have helped him out. We did have one derailment. Again, it wasn't his fault. I think I had a piece of ballast where I, cleaned the track, a piece of ballast kicked up and it got in a Pico switch. So when we threw the switch, it didn't close the points all the way with the spring. And got that out of there, ran okay after that. But yeah, I was sort of embarrassed by the way it ran. I edit any problems out that I have when you see it, but when he was here, there was a lot of stuff. So I didn't film him switching. I just wanted to visit with him. Hopefully the next time he comes down, it'll run better, so I apologize for that. So using the GP7, he could switch a lot longer blocks of cars than NW2. So I gave him the 4 switch list, and he just built the trains the way he wanted to. So I'll show you how he did it. This is the way that Fran decided to build the trains. I printed out the 4 switch lists for him, the 4 trains he had to build, and he decided to build the N&W interchange train first, and it's on the passing track. I told him he could, stage it on the passing track, because that's what I always do. Again, I tacked that flat car onto the end of it because I'm taking it out of out of circulation for a while. The one that was in the pole storage yard. So on track 1 of the yard, there's B&O eastbound, etc. So we're going to run the trains. Today we're going to run the N&W interchange train, and then we'll fill the yard up so we can start sorting them out to run the other trains. So for consistency's sake, we've got number 1 done. That's the yard switching to build the following 4 trains. Fran did that. And now we're going to run the N&W interchange train. I can do these in any order. There's no specific order to that. That's just the way that Fran chose to build them. So we're going to run the N&W interchange train today. Well, we're standing at Douglas Avenue, and here comes the NOW interchange train, being pulled by a high hood GP38, running in reverse since the high hood is forward on this particular model. On the back porch, Tuesday afternoon, just finished walking, and here comes Ferdinand to bug me. He probably wants in. That's sort of an unusual train today. We've got 3 grain hoppers. I've had those for a while, but I didn't have them active in JMRI until I built standard elevator. Since they don't have any repetitions or moves on them, I guess JMRI has said, oh, it's time to start moving them. So I hope I don't end up with a whole yard full of grain cars after I run all the trains and only have one customer. If I do, you can always go in and manually adjust. So this GP38 is one of the newer Atlas versions, and I had some problems with it. What happens is it kept sort of hanging up on the grade crossing at Watt Street, and I could not figure out what it was. I kept thinking, well, it's a grade crossing, and I'd work on it, and still hang up. Finally, I looked at the locomotive, and there's a tiny piece of flash on one of the trucks hanging down. I'll show you that at the end of the video, and once I cut it off, no more problems. And since I have 2 of these, I pulled the other one out of the box, and sure enough, there it was. So I cut it off too. So if you've got one of these, and you notice every once in a while it hangs up on a switch or something, you might want to check your trucks. It's a great runner otherwise. I mean, I have no complaints with it. This particular one is the one that Benjamin put the ESU in. Well, we've got a Norfolk Southern train coming. Hopefully you can hear it. So what we're doing is we're going to pull up across the North Paint Street, and then we're going to back onto the passing siding. I had to let Ferdinand in. That's what he wanted. Beautiful day today. Low 60s, few clouds in the sky, no breeze. So I just finished walking about 3 miles. I think this is a northbound train. So we'll see if he blows for the farm crossing or not. So we're going to back onto the passing siding until the caboose couples on to the cars we're picking up. Now we've disconnected, and we're going to run around the train. Have to go back down to Watt Street, go through the crossover again. So the chassis locomotive, not the one under the sand tower, but the other one, is also Locomotive 4108. So I have two 4108s on my roster, which I did not realize until I started the operating system series, and it started moving too. So I had to take it off the track just a little bit, and I'll have to renumber or reprogram one of them to a different number. No, he did not blow at the farm crossing, so I don't know if you could hear him or not. I ease up to the L&N boxcar. Now we're going to pull the train forward to get it off of the crossover. We have to be careful not to block the lead for the engine servicing, though, because that's where the engine is. We've got to get out to come take care of the cars. All right, so we disconnect the caboose. Now the N&W train can head back to home rails. Again, the N&W chose this paint scheme, which a lot of people didn't like, but it's what I got used to growing up in 1972. So I haven't weathered the locomotive or caboose real heavy, because of course they didn't repaint everything on day one. It took several years to get everything through the paint shop. So yeah, I like this scheme. Sort of in the minority. All right, now that he's gone, we can fire up 5613. And I think I called this a GP9 at the intro. It's actually a GP7. B&O did have a few left in 1980 on their roster, which they used for jobs like this, like the Oak Hill job and branch lines and things, yard switchers. We're going to have him fill in for the NW2 until I get it back. I spared you the runaround, but we ran around the train. We're going to couple onto it. We're going to put these cars in the yard. This is the locomotive that Fran was using that had the problems with, and it now has Accumates on it. And it's much better. Actually saw a orange butterfly today. Couldn't believe it. And we've had several pretty heavy frosts. I don't know. He's getting kind of a late start. I don't know if he's going to make it far enough south to survive the winter or not. All right, so the covered hopper on the end and the clay hopper, the Grand Trunk Western hopper, we're going to put on track 4. The other 2 cars, since they're grain hoppers, we're going to take them over to standard elevator and stage them on the runaround track over there, which occasionally they would do that to ease congestion in Chillicothe. I've seen cars sitting on that runaround track on Riverside Street. And hopefully JMR will have me deliver at least one of them to standard elevator when I get around to running that job. Animals are all doing fine. Haven't seen Arlie, the cat, in a while, but he's been hanging out over his new home with the heated bed now that it's got cold, so I don't know how much we'll actually see him this winter. We'll see. But he's got a good home. If he does venture over here, I mean, we'll feed him. All right, we'll leave those cars there and we'll head back to the yard. But as soon as he gets around the silos there, we'll stop the video and I'll show you that piece of flash you can look out for on your Atlas engines. All right, here it is. I didn't know if I could get a good picture of it, but I did. You can see it hanging down there. It's not supposed to be there. Just trimmed it off with a X-Acto knife and quit hanging up. So just check your engines if you're having if you're catching on anything. So hope everybody has a great weekend. As always, stay safe.